Welcome to the Dork Forest. Jackie and her pals will never bore us. Shameless confessions
about our obsession
will make us laugh and smile. So let's explore the Dork Forest and dork out for a while.
Hey, it's Jackie Cation. Welcome to the Dork Forest. You know the websites, JackieCation.com, DorkForest.com, TheDorkForest.com, FamilyPetAncestry.com. You're probably already there. Let's do the credits. Mike Rickberg composed and sang that song with his wife Sarah that you just heard. He's going to sing his version of the Mexican hat dance at the end of the program. Patrick Brady is going to fix this audio, and Vilmos works on JackieCation.com, the website. There are many ways to support the show. The Amazon link is one. You can use an Amazon link from JackieCation.com or DorkForest.com to go to Amazon. You order like normal, and it supports the show. There is a straight-up donation button, PayPal or Venmo, to this email address that is mine, Jackie@JackieCation.com, where you can just donate to the show if you like the show a lot. I think PayPal has figured out a way to do a monthly. If you want to go monthly, please do. Other ways to support the show if you want to is you can buy merch. There's Dork Forest t-shirts, and all the shirts are union made here in America, so they run a little big. Union Bayside, so if you want to look up their size chart. And then the other merch is my stand-up merch. On JackieCation.com, you can watch me do stand-up, you can look at my schedule, and the stand-up merch, a couple of different t-shirts, couple of different enamel pins, and all my CDs and my DVD. If you want to live stream my DVD, it's over there at comedyfilmnerds.com. They have a live streaming capability, or you can get a hard copy of the DVD on my website. Oh, there are premium episodes at Bandcamp. TheDorkForest.bandcamp.com has probably 10 episodes that were done live. They cost me a couple of bucks to make, so I charge you a couple of bucks. If you've run out of regular episodes, go over to TheDorkForest.bandcamp.com and get some more. Other than that, I say this. Let's get into the show. Hey, it's Jackie Cation. Except I didn't ask how to pronounce your last name. I'm in my living room with a friend of Brandy Posey's, who soon to be my friend. Lindsay, how do you pronounce your last name?
Guzzardo.
Oh, damn it. I wish I had guessed, because that's how I would have pronounced it.
Yeah, I feel
it's
like
Guzzardo.
It's Guzzardo.
Yeah, that's Lindsay Guzzardo, you guys, who is a book editor, right?
Yes.
And you can find her on LinkedIn. In other news, she has a life to lead, and it'll be fine. Anyway, so we're going to dork out. I was like, because Lindsay recommended that you talk, when I was going to write that romance novel, Brandy Posey was like, oh, I know somebody that could help you edit it. And I was like, well, I'm going to need that. And then it fell through, but that doesn't mean it fell through, because there's another idea churning where I have not made it almost impossible to do out of the gate.
And here we are.
And here we are. Welcome to the program.
Thank you so much.
All right. So here's the scoop, though, is we're going to talk about something I don't know anything about, which is Olympic artistic gymnastics.
Mm-hmm. Yes, not to be confused with rhythmic gymnastics.
Rhythmic gymnastics is the ribbon.
The ribbons and the ball and the hoops.
Oh, prop comics.
Yeah,
essentially.
Prop comic gymnastics, yes. Exactly.
Yeah, that's exactly what that is. And so you're talking about Olympic artistic gymnastics, which is just the floor work?
Floor, balance beam, bars, and vault.
Okay.
That's for the women. I don't know.
Right, we'll have somebody else on.
Yeah, that somebody else has got to come on.
You're looking at very bendy, jumpy women. There you go.
Yes.
Women who can really do some backflips.
Exactly.
Possibly.
Which was always, oh my gosh, I wanted to do that so badly, like growing up.
Did you?
I'm 5'11". I've actually shrunk a little bit since I've had my two children. So I'm in like the 5'9" range. But for years and years, I was 5'11".
Thank God you've corrected me, as I think from 5.
She's like, I don't know.
I always say 5'4", but I know that I've shrunk, and I've got to be like 5'3", 3.5. And I'm like, 5'4". I'm going to stick with it.
I should just stick with it. Yeah, for years and years, I was 5'11". Definitely too tall to do gymnastics. And they would show these gymnasts on TV. There's one, Svetlana Korkina. She's from Russia.
Okay.
She looks gigantic on TV. She's the tallest gymnast. She towers over everybody. She's 5'5".
5'5".
Yes, she's 5'5". Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Okay.
So there was no chance that I was going to do it.
This is a tiny person sport.
Yes, definitely.
I think of the men too. I don't think they're super tall either, right?
No, they average, I'm going to say about like
5'6"?
Yeah,
5'5"?
5'5".
Yeah.
5'6" range, yeah.
And so this woman is 5'5".
Is 5'5".
Is she still alive?
She's still with us.
Okay.
Yeah. She is still with us, yes.
When is the Olympics? Let's start at the beginning.
Okay, let's start at the beginning. The next Summer Olympics is their next year in Tokyo. 2020. Yes.
Tokyo. Mm-hmm. All right, good to know. Good to know.
But every even year, they separate winter and summer.
That's right.
Yes.
I remember when I was a kid, they used to do them the same year.
I know.
And it was kind of cool. Because it made it an Olympic year.
I know. How amazing is that? And then like every 4 years is like this epic
Right, it was a big deal.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. And it was both summer and winter. And then they split it because I think they thought, I don't know, they were like, maybe it was overwhelming or something.
I don't know.
But I remember my stepmother loving to be overwhelmed.
Oh, yeah.
Like at the end of Winter Olympics, she was like, when are Summer Olympics?
Bring it on. Bring it on. Yeah.
So you enjoy, I like the Winter Olympics myself more.
Okay.
But I don't like any of them. So I don't watch any of them.
Okay.
I mean to, but I don't. It doesn't happen. So, but but it's a destination thing too, because you have to really. I'll watch clips and stuff, but you could have it on all day.
Exactly. And so, the with the Summer Olympics. Coming up next year and following gymnastics, I'm already kind of like clued into
who's going to be doing it.
Yeah, exactly. So because there's people who are in it like that. Mm-hmm. And then there are people like, oh, the Olympics.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, right.
Right. It's going to be up here any day now. But you're already watching some artistic gymnastics while they get ready to be in the actual Olympics.
Exactly. Yeah.
Which has got to be, I mean, and I'm going to say something that I think everyone knows, is that they work out all year, right?
Exactly.
Okay, fair enough. So what have you seen recently that are you excited about, like sort of the field?
So this is where I have very strong feelings.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Thank goodness.
Because gymnastics has changed so much, and I wouldn't necessarily say for the better.
Interesting.
Yeah. So there have been, they keep messing okay. Yeah. Let me start at the beginning. There's something called the Code of Points. And after each Olympics, they redo the Code of Points. I don't know why. At some point. When
was the first time you noticed the Code of Points?
The first time that I really started to kind of pay attention was when, and this is the thing that I feel most strongly about, why my husband was like, you need to talk about your passion, is when they got rid of the perfect 10.
Oh.
Yeah, this is like a defining moment in the sport.
It was the only thing I ever knew about it, because it's clearly the Code of Points is obviously how they grade everybody or how they score everyone.
Exactly.
And they've always done it, one imagines.
They've always done it, and
you have to judge people somehow.
And it's if you're not following the sport, that's pretty much one of the only things you know about the sport. Right. Is the perfect 10.
Oh, yeah.
And they got rid of the perfect 10.
And when did they get rid of the perfect 10?
In 2005.
Oh, wow. So not even. Like 14 years ago, they were like, was it for some sort of terrible other people aren't getting a perfect 10?
I
hope not.
I mean, the way that they justified it was that I guess there had been some scoring controversies, but there were that's part of the sport, and that's actually, to me, kind of part of the fun, is that you can then debate,
whether what is what.
Yeah, exactly. Like, who should have won the gold? Did the right person win the gold?
Yeah.
And you can still have those debates. But when they got rid of the perfect 10, it was more to kind of account for difficulty. Like, if you don't have a ceiling, then difficulty.
Right. If you can, let us say theoretically that I could do a cartwheel.
Right.
I cannot.
It's a theory.
I've never.
Theory for me too.
It's theoretical. Now, but someone who's trained at this probably could do the greatest cartwheel in the world. Mm-hmm. But it would be super easy for them.
Exactly.
And someone else is like, well, I can do a cartwheel. I'm going to try to do a backflip. And you're like, well, you sort of nailed it, but didn't. Mm-hmm. So you could get a 10 on the cartwheel and an 8 on the backflip. Mm-hmm. And that's why they got rid of it, because there was no way to sort of sliding fee scale or prorate for difficulty?
For difficulty, exactly. Because that kind of incentivized the sport to go bigger, go higher, add another twist, add another, flip.
Oh, so
yes.
by getting rid of it.
By getting rid of the perfect 10, they've shifted from kind of like the perfect form and like the balletic poetry of it. I can get pretty philosophical about it, but
please wax on.
They went from the, really striving for perfection, and then it shifted toward difficulty. I'm going to add another flip. I'm going to add another twist. I'm going to add and so it really started looking much more like men's gymnastics in terms of the difficulty and the acrobatics.
Right.
And so it went away from making sure that you have like clean lines and perfect form no longer was as important as having the extra twist.
Right. Yeah. It was a posture versus how high you can jump.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. And so now, before when the perfect 10 was still around, I could watch a routine and I could be like, oh, that was like a 9.87.
Okay.
I could like deduct.
Yeah.
Now I have no idea. Like, it's a 15.2, like
15?
Oh yeah.
And they changed the numbers too.
So the women, like, now a good score is like 16.3 on bar. It gets so like convoluted because 14.2 is good on floor, but like a 16 is good on bars.
Well, that's weird. And why isn't it just still 1 to 10?
I know.
Wait, so they just took away, they did not only took away the perfect 10, they took away the whole idea of the number 10.
Oh, yeah,
like
yeah.
1 through 10.
Like, if you got a 10 now, like, you did a terrible job because you're supposed to be getting in the 16 range
Okay,
now.
so maybe it's up to 20? Is it a 1 to 20?
There's no ceiling.
And now there's no ceiling.
There's no ceiling because
I completely support you in your, what have you done here?
What have you done here?
Right. It doesn't have to be. Now, what are they judging on? Do you know what the categories are?
So
yes.
In this new scoring system, there's an E score. So this is actually out of 10. If you do want to still find a 10 somewhere in gymnastics, the E score stands for execution.
Okay.
That's out of 10.
Oh, that's your posture.
That's your posture.
Okay.
Yeah. So if you get a good E score, you looked good doing it.
Right.
But the D score, which is for difficulty, that's where you can like sky's the limit in terms of...
And they put them together.
And then they combine them. Yeah.
So there's an E, but are there just an E and a D?
Just an E and a D.
Okay.
You combine them for your...
Complete
score.
Right.
But then there's all like bonus points and like connection point. I'm like, I don't... Like...
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. And that's where it's just like, if you... So on balance beam, for instance, if you do a flip and then you connect it into a jump immediately, so no pausing,
right?
Then you get bonus points. You get like a connection bonus.
Transitions.
Yeah, exactly. Very important in terms of your score. But again, like, you have to like really understand the minutia and get into like the granular elements to really know like...
Right.
Was that good? You know?
Right. So if you're watching artistic gymnastics on a floor mat,
yes,
where they start at one corner and then they go to another corner,
right?
And what's the plan there? Do we know what is happening? What are they supposed to be doing? As many.
That's called a tumbling pass.
Is it?
It's called a tumbling pass.
Okay.
And they used to, like, back in the day. So if we want to talk about the heyday of like
artistic gymnastics,
what I consider the heyday of like artistic gymnastics, it would be like the 1980s.
Okay.
Yeah. And you look at those routines and they would normally do about 3 tumbling passes, sometimes 4.
Okay.
Like, I think they might even do like 5 tumbling passes now.
Oh,
and it's just
super
like,
busy.
It's just like too much.
Right.
Like, when are you, I want to see the ballet.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
right. Do you like the ballet?
I love the ballet.
Have you ever been to see a ballet?
I have. Okay. I have seen, let's see, I saw the Nutcracker.
Sure.
Yeah. You know, the classic.
That's, if you want to go check out a ballet.
Yeah. Go for the big one.
Yeah.
You know? And then I did see in New York, I forget the actual name of it. All I remember is that I went and then I saw this like crowd gathering and then SJP and Matthew Broderick stepped out of the like the car.
Like their vehicle, their driver.
Yes. I was like,
to also see the ballet?
To also see the ballet. I was like, oh my, like I am now at the ballet.
That is really cool.
And I don't remember what I saw. Like, I just remember that I saw them.
You saw them.
I saw
and then did you see some tippy toe dancing though?
Yeah,
You saw tippy
on
toe.
point.
Yeah, yeah. So there. So
Yeah.
in the 80s, they would only do 3 or 4. What else did they do? There was just sort of a lot of pausing in between, trying to make sure that they did it perfectly. The execution was.
So between tumbling passes would be the artistry. That's the ballet. So essentially, when you're moving from one corner to the other, they have to essentially do like a dance to like get to the other corner to do their next tumbling pass. And so that's where like you really can tell the difference between like a really like jacked gymnast and somebody who has actually studied like ballet at the bar, you know? Yeah. And I think going back to the 80s, 70s and 80s, actually, like there's just such a clear distinction in terms of how beautifully the Russians, Russian gymnastics that in the 70s and 80s was just like so beautiful.
Right.
And now it's like they look like linemen.
Right. Because they're like, well, I have to do a triple twist. I have to drink another protein shake.
I have to drink another protein shake. Like it's all muscles.
Yeah.
And like I get like you need muscles in gymnastics, but I don't want to see them. Like I want to see. I think the perfect comparison would be looking at 2008. Nadia Lukin. I don't know if you know these names. Nadia Lukin versus Shawn Johnson.
And Shawn Johnson. Wait, are these men?
These are women.
Okay, so but I got lost on Shawn.
Yeah.
Right. So Nadia
Lukin.
How do you spell Lukin? Lukin.
Lukin.
Okay.
So they were both on the U.S. team.
Okay.
But Nastya's parents were Russian gymnasts. Like her father was an Olympic gold medalist for Russia.
And then they defected. And then
They came to the U.S., had Nastia.
Right.
She then is on the U.S. team in 2008, and she won the all-around gold medal. That's the big prize in gymnastics.
Yeah.
And Shawn Johnson, girl, she's definitely, and I like these, like I like Shawn Johnson, but like she's that stockier built, muscular, and if you look side by side, their gymnastics are so completely different, and I like the classical Nadia Lukin look. Yeah,
sure, and the way that manifests itself on the mat.
Exactly.
Okay, so have you gone down a YouTube rabbit hole?
Oh my gosh. Like at work.
Well, that's where
it happens.
That's exactly where it belongs, I think.
I'm pretty sure my coworkers used to peek into my office and be like, "Is she watching another gymnastics video?" Whatever.
You had an office?
Yes, I did have an office. I know. A long
Congratulations.
Time ago.
It's with a door and everything.
It had a window. I know.
Oh my goodness.
I know.
Were you watching? Do they have old videos?
Oh my gosh, I'm so glad you asked.
Oh, thank you.
Yes. And I'm obsessed. I am obsessed with old gymnastics videos.
Okay.
Let's see. Like if you watch 1950s gymnastics videos are a little silly.
Okay. Why?
Just in what would win you an Olympic gold medal at that time.
Oh, right, because the skill level was
the
so much.
The skill level is like, and it's kind of shocking to see what was considered women's gymnastics. We're talking about women who were in their mid-30s would often win, and one was pregnant, like when she was early pregnancy. You didn't like have a bump or anything.
Her water broke, and it got her a 10.
That didn't happen.
Got her a 10. So
sympathy 10.
What was the routine in the 50s that was so?
So it's, and talking about going down the rabbit hole of like YouTube videos, then you have to read the comments. I mean, that's a big part of it, because you'll read, and almost every single video is the same. Just like, these routines are so easy. And then the next person, always somebody weighs in and was like, but the equipment was so different. Like the floor was like a hard floor.
Oh, it was just a hard, like gym floor?
Like a hard, yeah. I mean, they would put like a mat down.
Sure.
But in terms, like no springs, like no like real padding or anything.
Are there springs and padding now?
Yes. Yeah. Which is how they get so high.
I was wondering about the bounciness. I thought
there's
they must have so much leg power. Not that they don't. So it's a much more, who's a famous 1950s? Is there someone from the 50s and 60s?
Yeah. So Vera Kaslavska, she was from, so A lot of these names I've only ever read. Like,
Okay.
I don't know if I'm pronouncing them correctly.
And are they all Russian?
So she was from Czechoslovakia.
Okay.
And there's actually
Eastern Bloc.
the Eastern Bloc.
Sure.
And then I cannot believe right now in this moment I'm blanking on her name.
Okay.
But she was the Russian gymnast who was pregnant.
Nadia Comaneci? That's the only Russian.
Oh, this is
Who
really
that?
embarrassing. No, she's from Romania.
Okay, first of all, she's from Romania.
First of
I
all.
was just in Romania, and yes, and I was on a base, which means that I wasn't really in Romania because we're not allowed to go anywhere because President Rapist Knobjob has fucked up everything. So, wow, there was a small PSA. Okay, so but Nadia Comaneci was Romania.
From Romania.
Okay.
And actually, my very dear friend, her parents defected from Romania. So she was born in Romania. When I met her parents, I was like, Nadia. It was like one of the first things I was like, let's talk Nadia.
And did they?
And they were like, oh, she's a big star. I was like, that's really all we can say about
Right.
Nadia.
Do you don't have any Romanian tidbits?
That was like it. It was like, oh, yes, she's a
I
big
would
star.
like a Romanian tidbit.
That was it?
There's no gossip
like,
from
yeah, I
the
already-
home front.
I knew she was a big star. I
Yeah,
knew that.
we knew that. We watched her. Anyway, so but in the 50s and 60s, there was that woman. And what was she doing? What were they doing?
So she actually, before Michael Phelps like blew everything out of the water, pun intended. She held the record for most Olympic medals. And I'm totally blanking out her name right now, but she competed in 3 Olympic Games. Mm-hmm. But you watch those routines and like a tumbling pass. So you compare a tumbling pass today, it's like backflip, like triple twist.
Yeah.
It would seriously be like cartwheel, backflip. Like that would be it.
Right. The thing where, what's that? It's just like a head circle. What's that called when you just put your head on the ground and then
Or just, like a roll. Rolling forward.
right when you just do a somersault.
Yeah, exactly.
Were there somersaults?
Yes, but it was like, so that's where people weigh in and they're like, this is so easy. I could do that when I was 8 years old. And it's like, yes, that's probably true. Like, I do feel like there are 8-year-olds today who have that difficulty level.
Oh, yeah.
But then the person always weighs in and says, but the equipment was different.
Right. And there were no real good, the flooring was different.
Flooring and the balance beam was just like solid wood.
And what is it now?
Now it's got like padding. It's got like
some give?
I've heard some like give, like spring. I don't know how much springs in there, but maybe springs.
But a little more give.
It definitely has more give.
Same width?
Same width, yes.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Because that was one of the big things about the balance beam. Because I took some gymnastics. Mm-hmm. I was not. It was not a thing. And and then there's the horse, right? Then there's the vault. The vault.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Which I always think of as the horse. It is a vault. And so it has the 2 handles on it.
Ooh,
is that different?
We're going right back into men's. We're kind of
is that a
turning into
men's
men's
thing?
gymnastics.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do they also are they the only ones who do those rings?
Yes. Yep. That's men's.
So what is the difference? That they have that
men have 6 events.
Okay.
And the women have 4.
Okay, tell me what the 4 events are.
So in women's gymnastics, it's the floor, the balance beam, the bars, and the vault. That's where they're running really fast, and then they hit the springboard. Oh, like Carrie Strug. And then you vault over.
Okay, and that's why it's called a vault.
Yes.
So you sort of tap it, and it sends you further up into the sky?
Exactly.
Okay, and is the bar, is that those 2 bars that are aren't parallel?
Asymmetrical. Yep.
Parallel, but not... whatever.
Exactly.
Okay.
And in men's gymnastics, they have the pommel horse. That's with the handles.
That's what I'm thinking of.
Yes.
Okay.
They have the rings. Mm-hmm. They have parallel bars just next to each other.
They don't have the not parallel?
And they have a single high bar.
Ah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then the floor.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I forget and a vault as well. Yeah.
Oh, they also have a vault.
They also have a vault. Yeah.
Well, because we can't have something. He's like, give me that too. No, I don't want to do that too. I don't know. But that's fascinating. Okay, so there's... So those are has it always been those 4 for women's gymnastics?
Yes.
Okay. Mm-hmm. And artistic gymnastics versus rhythmic gymnastics speaks directly to the floor. correctly? Or is there artistic gymnastic that's on those other three?
So, or rhythmic gymnastics? Rhythmic gymnastics is only on the floor,
Right.
but that's where they add the props.
Right. And artistic gymnastics, is that both the floor and the other
Three. So
the other three?
It's a total of 4 events in
Okay.
women's artistic gymnastics. Yes.
And they call it they don't just call it gymnastics, it's called artistic gymnastics.
It's called artistic gymnastics.
So they call the men's artistic gymnastics? Maybe.
Maybe.
All right. It's I don't know. Understand
Yeah.
what's arty about it? If you're doing the vault, are you painting something in the sky? What's happening? You're just like just gonna do a quick watercolor.
So that was always kind of like there's the two like power disciplines are like floor and vault.
Okay.
That's where you're just like running as hard as you can and just like huge, flips in the air, and more of like the poetry, the ballet, the artistry. A lot of that comes in balance beam and bars.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So.
And what do you love about the balance beams?
I would say balance beam is my favorite.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Just because of
It's
I guess
skinny.
it's very skinny.
It's
I don't
super
know
little.
that's why I was like,
It's
oh my gosh, that's why I
little.
love it. I think it was how pretty. I really like. If I'm really like, why do I love it so much? It's just how pretty it always looked. How
Everybody,
beautiful it
how
always
graceful and how amazing.
graceful and that's where the fan in me has mourned, because now you look at gymnastics today and that's where it's there, and kind of bring it full circle back to the code of points.
Yeah.
The code of points, as it changes after every Olympic cycle, they've added so many required elements.
Yeah.
That every routine looks exactly the same, because you have to get in your full turn. You have to get in you have to like do lower beam work. You have to do, and so everything starts looking exactly the same. And so then they try to like correct for that in the next code of points, which was what girls were doing is they would pause trick. Then they would pause set up. They would pause and they're setting up, and then they do a trick. Well, now they're trying to get rid of those pauses. And
So
now
they're giving those bonus points for transitions?
it's just like, why can't you just let it be?
Right.
Just like let it be. Like we were all having like it was all beautiful and fun.
We were all having a great time, and you are trying to somehow industrialize the scoring.
Yes.
And,
And now it's just like automatons and just like get up there and just like,
Yeah.
every routine looks so structured and exactly the same. And so going back to those heydays, like where you just had so much more freedom to create your own routine and do a lot more dance, and it just so beautiful looking. And now I watch it as a fan, but just like not in the same spirit.
Right. You're just like now you're actually because you're being trained to look for those things too.
Right.
And you're like, oh, okay, that was really cool. You really stuck that. You did that right.
But is that a 15.1? I don't know.
Right.
Like
You
what
can't tell.
was that?
Who has gotten 10s back pre-20?
Okay, so the perfect 10. So
Yes.
a little like side note on the perfect 10 is that my husband and I were visiting our friends who live in Vancouver. Mm-hmm. Vancouver hosted the Winter Olympics in 2010.
Okay.
And so they still kind of had like Olympic, they had this Olympic like structure thing that we were walking by, like these spears. And so I'm walking with my friend Jen, and then the two guys are behind us. And our friend says to my husband, what's something that gets Lindsay like kind of riled up? And apparently, according to my husband, without batting an eye, he goes, the perfect 10.
Yeah.
And so he's like, okay. So we're walking, and just out of the blue, our friend goes, you know what? I'm really glad that they got rid of the perfect 10. And like
The friend with him?
yeah, the
other guy.
The other guy.
The hilarity of menfolk is what we are seeing. And I love them. They're adorable. But that is so funny.
But also, like, why wouldn't I have questioned why somebody would just say that? Like,
did you not hear him?
I
hear
heard.
him
I did not hear that conversation.
Right.
This all. I found this out later.
Mm-hmm.
But when he just like says this out of the blue, I turned on him so fast.
That was so funny. It was just like, here's some gasoline and a match.
But it's also like, and then later, apparently, our friend told my husband, he was like, you know your wife. Like that. That gets her really riled up.
What a terrible episode of the Newlywed Game. Oh, that's so funny. So who has gotten it though? Who are famous people that have gotten
So
the
the
10?
very first one was Nadia Comaneci.
Oh, really?
Yes. Very first perfect 10.
What year was that?
1976.
Okay.
Montreal.
Okay, Montreal.
Mm-hmm.
Aw.
Yep.
So she got a perfect 10 on all 4 of those.
So gymnastics has changed so much, and one of the things that kind of like the purists mourn is that there's no longer something called the compulsories. You watch these old videos on YouTube. I love the compulsories. The compulsories are every single athlete, every single gymnast has to compete the exact same routine.
Well, they sort of took it and made it into the main thing then.
That's kind of what they did. That's what they ended up doing. And it's like, well, if you're going to do that, why don't you just bring compulsories back?
Yeah,
because
right.
Create the routine. And the idea was that it was a simpler routine that showed that you had the fundamentals.
Right.
You had sound fundamentals.
Yeah.
And that's where you really saw the precision.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so, but they were meant to be simpler.
Yeah.
And that's where you got these people coming in. They're like, these routines are so easy. And then somebody always is like, these are the compulsory routine. Like every time. Every time. Every compulsory
you're
routine.
Reading the YouTube. Your dorkdom might be reading YouTube comments.
Oh my gosh. Like, and then it was like, to the point of like, I really like this this person.
I'm
their stuff.
I'm gonna click on there, see what else they've commented on. Could you imagine following people because of their good? This is an interesting comment. I commented Ice-T yesterday on Twitter.
Yeah.
Tweeted something. It was a GIF of himself or a GIF of himself.
Yeah.
Sitting on a boat in the wind, just kind of blowing his hair and his ball cap. And it was just a GIF, right? And he looked really good. He looked very nice. But it was, and then he wrote, "This is me blocking dum-dums," or something like that, right? And so I just responded to it and I said, "That's really nice. That's a nice GIF of you. You look very nice." And I got several comments of, "That might be the nicest thing anyone's ever said on the internet."
Right.
And I was like, well, no, it's just I don't know Ice-T.
Yeah.
How funny.
They thought that was their in to Ice-T.
Right.
That.
Well, and he liked it as well. And I was like, well, that's kind of neat too.
That's very cool.
Right.
Yes.
I was like, oh, Ice-T doesn't know me still, but he liked the thing I said.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So, so did Nadia Comaneci make...
So that's how all of the initial kind of Olympic competition would start, is you would do the compulsories first.
Right.
And
but just get warmed up.
just getting warmed up, getting out there, and that's where she scored her first perfect 10, was in a compulsory routine.
Wow.
Yeah. And so
So her form was so dead on.
Exactly. And you go back and you watch it, and it is just, it is to this day amazing. And another reason why more in our current code of points is Nadia was 14 years old when she was in Montreal, and they have changed things so much that you now have to turn 16 the year of the Olympics. So there would today be no Nadia.
Right.
There would be no Dominique Moceanu, who was another 14-year-old. There would be no Shannon Miller. There would be,
And what year did those guys do it?
So, let's see. Shannon Miller was 15 in 1992.
Okay.
So she won 5 medals at the 1992 Olympics. And she, under today's code, would not have been able to compete.
Can you not compete at all unless you're 16 in any of the
You can compete in like the junior leagues.
Olympics? Well, but not the
Olympics, which
Yeah.
is just like, why not?
Well, wasn't there a documentary about the starving of children and the overworking of the peoples?
Yeah, there's been a couple of those documentaries.
There's just a couple. There's only a couple of kids. Don't worry about it.
A couple of kids.
And they're just doing cartwheels. They're having the time of their lives, Jackie. Anyway,
Thank you for summarizing my points. Yes.
all right. And so, who was the third one? The one there was Nadia.
And then Dominique Moceanu.
And what year was
so
she?
So she was 1996.
Okay.
In Atlanta. So that was kind of when I first started loving gymnastics was the lead up to the 1996 Olympics.
Okay.
And she was everywhere, Dominique Moceanu.
Okay.
And under the current code would not have made that team.
Quick question.
Yeah.
Digressing. Where are any of these people today? Do we know? Are they teaching? Are they?
Let's see.
Do they own a franchise of Dairy Queens? What is it?
What are they up to?
Are they eating well?
Well, I know one gymnast from the 2000 Olympic team. She was in like Cirque du Soleil.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Well, I think those fancy ice skaters from the Olympics end up in everything on ice.
Yes. That's a big part of it too. After the Olympics, you tour with the. I did see the 1996 tour.
Oh, did you?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. But there was a little bit of drama there because there were competing tours.
Oh.
Yeah, because in 1996, so Carrie Strug, do you know that vault?
I know that name.
Okay.
Okay.
So in 1996, she did the vault that like secured the gold medal for the team and like essentially like broke her ankle doing it.
Ooh.
Yeah. And then so she like, but I think she broke her ankle on the first vault and was like, shake it off, shake it off, shake it off. And then like went on a second vault, landed it.
Oh my God.
And then like fell.
Right.
Yeah. So
Stuck the landing.
She stuck the landing and then fell.
Right.
And so this was like this big iconic moment in Olympic history.
Carrie Strug?
Carrie Strug. And the thing, she had always been in the shadows of like the other gymnasts. And then she like, Shannon Miller and Dominique Dawes were like the big names.
Okay.
Yeah. And she'd always kind of been in their shadows. And then all of a sudden has
And
this
yet,
huge
she's
moment.
the only name that I recall.
Exactly.
So
I know.
she was a big name.
So she got hers. Exactly.
She got her moment.
She got her moment. And so after the Olympics, everyone was just, that was such a big moment of the games, maybe the moment of the 96 games. She gets offered $1 million to do her own tour.
Oh, God.
And the other 6 team members went and did the separate tour.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, I don't know if there was bad blood. I don't know. I don't want to like
sure
get on
that
here
was-
and like start like stirring anything.
I'm sure there was some grumpiness. That's weird. Was it like Coke Zero saying, come on? And I wonder who created this discord for no other reason, but
And I mean, if
you could have just...
if you're in Carrie Strug's situation, I think you kind of take the $1 million.
You got to take the $1 million when it is offered.
I think you take it.
It's not the worst thing that you've ever done in your life. So you can just do that. That's okay.
So which tour did I go to? I went to Carrie Strug's.
Oh, you went to Carrie Strug's tour.
Yeah,
okay.
and Nadia was on that tour.
Oh, wow.
So I saw Nadia, and she married...
And Nadia was from 76. She was 14.
Right, so she's 34.
She's 34.
During this tour, yeah.
And still bendy? Still able to do a bunch jumping around?
Very bendy. She married an American gold medalist, Bart Connor.
Oh.
He was on the tour. Yeah.
Was he a gymnast as well?
Yeah. He won 2 gold medals at the 1984 Olympics.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Which there's an asterisk there as well.
Yeah, that is weird.
Because the Russians didn't compete in the 1984 Olympics.
Ah, there you go. Oh, nice.
Yeah.
I remember that.
Yes.
Yes. I was alive. I was alive for all of this. And yet, paying attention? Nope. But now I can go back in time.
It was like happening in the background.
Very much so.
Yeah, I know.
And in 84, I had just started doing stand-up comedy and literally was so excited about stand-up comedy, cared about nothing. So I do remember people getting into it though in the dorms. I lived in a women's co-op, which was like a dorm at the University of Wisconsin, and there was one TV, and because it was 1984, and it had cable. And boy, did we watch it. And it was on all the time.
But that's what, like, so much like part of the Olympics. Were you guys watching the Olympics on there? Or okay, because that's what I love so much about the Olympics is kind of like bringing everybody together in this moment. That's what's so special about it.
It's a party thing. It's like you should watch them as a group. Like like whenever the X Games are on and I'm watching them by myself, I'm always like, we saw like 4 other people here to make comments about that kid's haircut.
I just need the commentary. Exactly.
It's much.
I'm there for the commentary. Yes,
you really are.
Yeah.
Maybe that's it. You're like, oh, we're all watching this together. Me and these YouTube people. That's kind of awesome. By the way, I am talking with Lindsay Guzzardo. And just so you know, and you just got to find her on LinkedIn. You got to
find me.
Just let it go. Don't worry about it.
Got to get my LinkedIn number, though.
Exactly. She's got kids to raise and things to edit. And she's got a life to lead. So what's it looking like upcoming?
So going into next year, they're switching it up again.
Are they?
Yeah, because, and I don't know why. I think this is like the root of my anger. Like, why are you switching it up into something unrecognizable? Like, this is the time when people pay.
Maybe they'll fix it.
Will they? They keep making it worse. So It's like the big draw during the Summer Olympics. Why are you making it so that there's less and less of it? And by that, I mean, they used to have 7 people would make up a team.
Okay.
Next, and then for a couple Olympics, there were 6 people who made up a team. This last Olympics in 2016, there were 5.
Okay.
4 next year.
Oh, wow.
Why?
Wow.
Why? It's very confusing to me because you look at the soccer teams and you look at the big, like the basketball team, and they'll have like a gigantic podium.
Right.
Everybody's up there, like 20 plus people.
Yeah.
And like, why can you only muster 4 people on a team for the Olympics' most popular sport? I don't understand.
That is weird. I wonder if they're trying to create famous people.
Yeah.
Like if there's just 4 people, you'll remember their names more, maybe.
Well, and then it gets even like more confusing because it used to be, okay, so here's our team that we're sending to the Olympics.
Right.
And of this team, they're going to be competing for the medals in the individual disciplines.
Okay.
Because there's 6 total medals that you can win in gymnastics.
The 4
disciplines.
Yep.
The all around.
Okay.
And the team event.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
What is the team event?
So that's where, and that switches every time. I'm not sure what it's going to be going into next year, but.
Oh, do they switch it every time?
Yeah. And it's like, so.
Sometimes it's really fun and sometimes it's really weird?
To me, it's getting just more and more weird. Like, I don't even think it's fun anymore. Like in the 90s, in the 96 team, there were 7 girls on the team. I believe all of them would compete in each discipline. You would drop the lowest score and then combine everything. So it really is like a team effort.
Oh, okay.
So, but then I think in this last Olympics, it was only 3 competed on each event and all the scores counted. So you could conceivably send somebody
Wait,
who
so
would
they're
only do
not
a
doing
vault.
something as a team?
No.
I want them to do synchronized swimming.
They don't do that. You know, they
like
used,
as a team.
They used to do stuff like that.
I want to see a chorus line
that doesn't
of
happen.
gymnastics. Why wouldn't you want to see a chorus line of awesome gymnastics?
So that actually is something they used to do. They used to kind of
Really?
like prance next to like the judges in a line. But they don't do, you're right, they do not do that anymore, like as a synchronized thing. No.
I'm not saying it wouldn't have looked a little pandery, but are the judges men or women? Or are they both?
I think they're both.
Yeah.
And, there's been a lot of scoring controversies throughout the years, which I find kind of fun.
What are they?
Well, so...
examples, please.
Examples would be, a really good one.
Yeah.
Would be the 1988 Olympics in Seoul.
Okay.
So the U.S. women should have won the bronze medal.
Okay.
In the team event. But Nellie Kim, who was one of the judges in these Olympics, she was a former Soviet gymnast. She had competed in the Olympics before. She penalized the U.S. for this like completely arbitrary rule that everybody broke all the time. Like it just didn't even matter.
Right.
It was while somebody was competing on the bars, an athlete was competing on the bars, the girl who was supposed to pull the springboard away stayed next to the equipment while the girl performed, which was something that everybody would do.
Yeah.
Well, you're not supposed to do that.
You're supposed to go sit down or
You're
something?
supposed to like leave while she's competing.
Weird.
So yeah, it's like it's such a like a small rule, and then like
And I wonder what the rule is for, so that if she falls off, she doesn't squish you. What is the rule
guess
for?
safety, or maybe to not get in the possible way of like the judges seeing something. I don't know.
Okay.
But she invoked this rule,
right?
And cost the Americans half a point, which was the difference
between
bronze and fourth. So the U.S. got fourth at that Olympics, and I believe East Germany got the bronze, and all because of her shenanigans.
Right.
Yeah.
That is a great. Are there more of those stories? You got another one?
Yes. The 1980 Olympics, so which the U.S. boycotted those Olympics.
Okay.
But it didn't really matter for the U.S. in terms of gymnastics because they hadn't really been a factor. Which there were shenanigans there too. Like later it came out that there were a lot of like behind the scenes, like, predetermined, we'll give you this score if you give us this score. Oh yeah, there was like lots of shenanigans going on behind the scenes, which is why lots of deal making, which is why the Eastern Bloc just dominated in gymnastics.
Oh, because they were all related to each other.
Yes.
And they're just like, well, I'll give Romania something if you give East Germany something.
That's what it was.
What?
Yeah, so the Americans could like never get in, could never get in. And so in 1980, so Nadia won 5 medals in 1976.
Right.
She's now 18 years old in 1980.
Wow.
And she's
Poor
looking.
thing.
I know. Like she's over the hill. And she's looking to defend her all-around title going into 1980. And she competes, and they took 28 minutes to determine her score. So that there's like, when she finished her like final event.
Right.
Exactly. They took 28 minutes. So there's shenanigans going on behind the scenes.
Yeah.
Because who ended up winning? It's in Moscow. A Russian girl won. Yeah.
Nadia did not win.
She won silver.
Silver.
In the all-around. Yeah.
And did you see both of those performances? Did you?
Like on YouTube?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And should Nadia have one?
See, there's a lot of... It's tough. It really is a close call. I do think it's a close call.
Okay.
But it's tough because Nadia fell on her compulsory bar routine. And so...
Okay.
And that whole score is combined. So she's going in with a fall in her score. It is a close call.
Okay.
But nobody should take 28 minutes. That behind the scenes.
Right. Everybody's just going, just give it to her. Just give it to her.
Exactly.
Just give it to her. And everybody else is like, we don't want to.
Right. Exactly.
And she fell.
So it's...
Right.
Yeah. And then in 1984, so now retaliation.
She's 22.
Well, she didn't compete.
Okay.
She's done. Nadia's done.
Oh, poor thing. Poor thing.
Nadia's done.
She's a spinster.
So now it's 1984, and now the Russians aren't at the Olympics, which were held here in Los Angeles.
Right.
In 1984. And they were handing out 10s left and right. They were handing out 10, like, it was just like... 10s were just like nothing at the 1984 games.
Yeah.
Which is fun, but it's also like, okay. Like
Which is one of the reasons why they took it away.
Which is why they probably took it away, because it's like, she didn't even stick that landing.
Right.
Like she took a big hop back.
Right?
You just gave her a 10. Yeah.
That was not a 10. We've seen 10s.
That's not a 10.
Yeah, that is not a 10. You are no Jack Kennedy. And that is amazing. So is there... I remember the one time I watched, I think all of it. It was a Winter Olympics.
Yes.
And I believe I was just about to say it was very snowy. That, it should be. Should be.
I think I know the one you're talking about, yes.
I think it was in Europe, though. I think it was like...
Is it Lillehammer?
Maybe.
94?
Would it have been
Nancy
94?
Kerrigan, Tanya Harding?
No.
Okay.
No, that was an amazing...
Oh, that was an amazing one.
I couldn't... I'm talking... This had to be 70s or 80s.
Oh, 70s. Okay.
So it would have been either 76 or 80.
Okay.
And where was 1980?
80 was Lake Placid.
That's exactly where it was.
Okay.
Okay. So, but they... I remember in 1980 there being some not articles. They were stories on TV at this point.
Yeah.
And it was all about how they were giving out condoms because all of the athletes would have sex with each other.
Oh, yeah, I've heard
and and I was wondering, so are there sex scandals in the gymnastic world?
Oh, well, I mean, they just had that big scandal.
No.
Oh, yeah.
Like-
No. Like I guess he was a doctor in Michigan, I think.
Oh, the creepy
That creepy guy.
creepy doctor?
The creepy doctor guy.
Oh,
Larry Nasser.
Yeah, that's attacking. I was hoping there was a consensual sex scandal. I thought it was something less horrible.
Oh, like a good sex scandal.
Yeah, I don't need to hear about some monster.
Oh,
That's
that
not-
guy's the worst. And then like the cover up, and it's just like devastating. And then
Yeah.
you hear these things, and it's like, it's just can't
we have anything
Can't
nice?
we have anything nice?
I know.
Gymnastics? You say gymnastics?
Right.
Really?
You're just supposed to. You're just teaching kids how to tumble.
That's it.
You don't have to be creeps.
You don't have to and then the leadership covered for this guy. It's just the
Right.
worst. It's
Yeah.
absolutely the worst. But so that's not fun.
Right.
I don't know if there's a fun one.
No.
Not that is
there-
like immediately coming to mind.
Right. So Nadia, there was love.
Well, yeah. Okay. Well, I guess it's more of like a meet cute.
Yeah.
Is that she met Bart Connor for the first time when she was 14, and they both won the American Cup that year.
Okay.
He won the men's American Cup. She won the women's American Cup at Madison Square Garden. And there's like all these cute pictures.
And is that the name of one of the sort of the lead ups to the Olympics?
Yes. Like one of the premier competitions. And it was the first American Cup ever.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and they won, and then they got married in 1996. So that's 20 years later. But they
Yeah.
had like met
in 76. They
yeah.
met in 76.
They met in 76.
And when did they get married?
In 1996.
In 96.
Because she had to go back to Romania, and there was like this whole thing in 1989, like right before the
wall.
revolution. Yeah, this was in Romania, so all of the like communist countries in the Eastern Bloc.
Yeah.
It was like all happening all at once, and she defected like a month before, I think.
Oh, wow.
From Romania, and she has like crazy stories of like running through the night, like you're running through the night for your life.
Yeah.
And it was a huge deal when she made it to America, and that was always so embarrassing for those communist countries that they couldn't keep their big superstars.
They're superstars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. So she was in Romania until 1989.
Okay.
And I'm not sure at what point they
Like they might have run into each other at like other World Cups or other competitions.
Those from the communist countries they could not communicate with anybody like outside of their own team.
Right. Yeah. So in 89, she came to the United States.
Yes.
And then in 96, so 7 years later, that's kind of a nice story.
Isn't that cute?
She's age appropriate. Everyone's grown up.
So cute. And they have a son, and they run a gymnastics.
Oh, that's adorable.
In, I believe, Texas. Yeah, her and Bart Connor. Yeah. Very sweet.
That is.
But not like a, ooh, tell me more about that. Right. There's like no.
Right.
That's like a meet cute.
Right. Yeah. Which is good.
Which is good.
Yeah.
Yeah. And talking about romance novels and everything.
Yeah. No.
That was a good one.
Yeah. Because, that was the, okay. So wait, where am I? It's okay. So I'm just going to write something. I don't know why I've decided to stop the momentum entirely. Well, it actually does run into implausible premises. Because I think I was looking for an implausible premise, and you edit different novels,
yes,
for the most part, and many of them are romance novels.
Yes,
or were romance novels,
primarily romance novels and like women's fiction.
Okay, so romance novels are chock full of an implausible premise.
Yeah, there's a lot of silliness. Yeah.
There's and you're just like, well, I just got to get there, right? It's sort of like alcoholism. I'm just trying to drink,
right? You just you go in just like accepting that it's going to be silly.
It's going to be silly. I don't know if you ever saw Kate and Leopold, but it is not plausible.
Kate and Leopold is actually like there's a lot of time travel romance.
Yep,
and I want to like speak up for the romance novelists because they are incredibly gifted craft. Like they know the craft so well and can write just like the most nuanced, like beautiful romances with a silly premise. Like there's a lot of silliness,
Right.
but they're really good writers. And I think that surprises people who maybe think it's all silliness. And
I feel
true.
bad because I have 2 bits about reading romance novels that I've done over the last 10 years. And in both cases, I belittled the prose because that has been the go-to for 1,000 generations. First of all, they're written by women. Bitches, man. They can't write. And then second of all, they're about romance. And they aren't about, and to some extent, people are like, well, they're not about anything else. And you're like, I beg to differ.
Definitely beg to differ.
Right,
yes.
because if you have ever read a Jack Reacher novel, know in your heart that he gets laid on page 446 every time.
Every time.
Almost every time. And though I did check the new one, I was like, oh, no.
Switching it up a little bit.
Switching it up, getting laid earlier,
Wow.
saying no. What's happening, Jack? So they can be action adventure, they can be paranormal,
Yes.
and they can be
Yes.
werewolves. They can be whatever you want them to be. And so are you mostly editing? Are you editing across the board of all the genres of romance?
Yeah. So what actually defines a romance novel is the happily ever after.
Okay.
And that confuses people, I think, in that, like, why would you want to read a book that you know the ending? And they've actually done research. I think this came out of Harlequin, this report, but that there's an addictive nature in terms of like the happily ever after, like will give you a high.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so readers are chasing that high.
Right.
So it's all about what they overcome to be together.
Right.
And sorry, what was the original?
So
The spectrum.
right,
Yes.
the genres.
Yes. And I have, the way I explain it is I have edited the filthiest erotica. And then the spectrum to Amish romance.
Oh.
Like I have like covered it all. Yeah.
I remember the first romance novels I read were terrible.
Yeah.
And they were Barbara Cartland romance novels. And what would happen at the end of a Barbara Cartland romance, after a lot of misunderstandings, they would get married and then they would kiss and then you're like,
And
damn
then
it.
the book would end.
Where is the next? I would like
Where's
at
the
least,
next chapter?
Yeah, anything.
Yeah.
And so they can be enormously chaste.
So very, very, very chaste. Like Amish romance. And again, speaking to like the talent of these writers, like I've read just like incredibly good Amish romance.
Really?
Where it's just really, really good and just like heart-rending.
Just super
and just
powerful.
Powerful and like you're rooting for them and just like feeling the emotions on every page. And here's how good, and I'll plug her. She was so good. Her name is Jennifer Beckstrand.
How do you spell Beckstrand?
Beckstrand.
Okay.
Yeah, Beckstrand. She wrote a book, an Amish romance, about it's called Miriam's Quilt, and I edited this book.
Okay.
There was a scene at the end where a quilt is sold, and it was like reading a thriller. Like I could not like turn the pages, or I guess I was on my computer, like scroll fast enough when this quilt was sold. I was like, how did she do that? Just like the craft it takes to like make that such a meaningful, powerful moment.
Yeah.
So compelling. I was like, oh my gosh, the quilt is sold. Like it was like
Right. But if you were to say it out loud, as you just did, everyone would be like, what the hell just happened?
What are you talking about? A quilt is sold. Like that's how good her Amish romance is. Yeah.
And that's the interesting thing is because, when you look at like the Oprah Book Club books.
Yeah.
Those books are usually sad sack books.
Yeah.
They're slice of life.
Yeah.
Often implausible as well.
Yeah.
But usually a sad ending. Usually some tragic, and then they kept going.
Right.
What just happened?
My mom would call that like a European ending.
Oh.
Like they love those endings in Europe.
Right. Well, and if you look at like the Girl with the Dragon Tattoo series, where you're like, crying out loud, I would not have read this series.
Right.
But then you read all of them in one night because you're like, she better live.
Right.
And,
right.
But the craftsmanship that goes into some of the romance novels, like the ones that I keep.
Right.
I'll do a
keeper
reread.
Shelf. Keeper shelf. That's like a whole thing in
that's a
romance.
thing?
That's going on my keeper shelf.
Oh, there you go.
A lot of them say that. Yeah.
And so I have a thing that they say, a keeper shelf.
A keeper shelf. You have a thing that they say?
I collect a thing. I don't collect a lot of things. Andy does most of the collecting.
Yeah.
So, all right. And but some of them are like the literally it's this theory that I have about sort of when there is that endorphin kind of situation, like a movie that is considered terrible.
Yeah.
Will usually have a B plot or a B message that will invigorate you and will make you happy in some ways.
Yeah.
And it could be a right-wing message or a left-wing message or just a message of hope and happiness,
Yes.
right? And a lot of romance novels have that.
Yes.
And my examples on movies are, of course, Footloose. Censorship is bad.
Gotcha. Yes.
Right. Dirty Dancing, Keep Abortion Legal. Blue Crush, weirdly enough, true happiness is found through corporate sponsorship. And weird. Very weird. Yes. And
I don't know that I caught that the first time.
but yeah, it turns out. And then I was just thinking about Flashdance, and the B plot on Flashdance.
Yeah.
You know, she's a welder.
Yeah.
It's equal pay. Because
Right.
she is a welder who cannot afford, so she strips on the side.
We're just very far
And you're
ahead
like,
of its time.
welding should pay enough to live. You shouldn't have to strip for money because
that
you're a welder.
should be the job.
That's
Yeah,
the job.
that's
You're a
the job.
welder.
Yeah.
Weird. Anyway, so, but with romance. So, what are the most implausible premises?
Oh, well, right now, and I've actually my mom reads romance novels.
Okay.
And so I'll send her ones that I think are just like, I just can't even handle the premise. So right now, billionaires are huge. Like my mom is like, oh, millionaires don't even cut it anymore. Like they have to be billionaires.
That's what I'm thinking about doing
Yeah.
with the Galaxy Quest romance novel.
Yes. Billionaires are very hot right now. Yeah.
Elon Musk.
I like it. Yes.
Because Elon Musk is such a flawed person and a billionaire.
And a billion. Yeah.
And yeah.
But what would make this hook even greater and kind of like speak to the market right now is a hidden baby. Or
baby.
or like a secret baby.
Sure.
Or like he doesn't know he has a baby.
Oh, okay.
Like one of those kind of things. But what gets crazier, I was like, oh, secret babies are that's a very popular romance trope. But you always have to one-up it in romance, just like how millionaires are no longer the in
Right,
thing.
it's gotta be
got to be billionaires. So then it was twins.
Oh, God.
I am not kidding. I have seen the romance novel, The Billionaire's Secret Triplets. It's like, how are triplets even? No. No. No.
Wow.
You can't hide those.
Why?
You can't hide triplets.
Do you know how you know would be the really hard one is if you had two different babies, both of them are the billionaires, but they're not twins at all. Like he didn't notice
That he already had a child.
That he already had a child with you,
Yeah.
and you're like, I need another one, and you go back.
I like that twist. He's like, you mean to tell me this kid was mine the whole time?
The whole
time.
I've been bringing like just ice cream to this kid, and that one's mine. And it's like, yeah, and I got another one coming. And so do they end up getting with the billionaire because they've had his baby?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's not like some separate.
It's a lot of the time in this trope, it was like a fling or like a one night stand, and then they've lost touch with each other somehow.
I know how. I don't know if you've ever had a one night stand, but it's almost immediately the how.
That's the how.
That is the how.
You don't know each other.
You don't know each other at all. You met for 35 minutes, and I gotta go. And
now you have triplets.
Right, and 11 of those minutes were the actual act. Anyway, so that's hilarious.
I sent that one to my mom. I was like, triplets? Triplets. No. Secret triplets. No.
Oh my God, that's the best.
There's that, and the other one where I was like, this isn't even sexy. Shapeshifters are very, very popular as well. And
that sounds sexy. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Yeah, exactly.
You could put that to work.
But like, you want like a sexy shapeshifter, like you want like a jaguar, like like a.
Oh, you just can't make yourself look very fit?
Well, the one that it's just kind of like, ooh, it's called Bear Meets Girl.
Uh-oh.
And he shapeshifts into a bear. And I was like, well, that's just like
That's just
bears
having
is, like-
sex with a bear.
Right.
Right.
And where it's like, and it also bears are just like, they kind of like lumber and like,
Yeah.
they're just like, there's no strength. They just kind of are blobs. They're blobby. Bears are blobby.
I'm giving a bear a 10. I don't know if you know this, because bears can be very graceful. And no, I know what you're saying.
Yeah,
bestiality is what it turns into in the
kind of quickly in these
quickly.
stories. I mean, it's a weird like. I mean, the love scenes only happen as far as I know, when they're human.
Okay. And then he turns into a bear.
And then he turns into a bear. And
sort of like The Hobbit. It's about that guy who turns into a bear. But so he's a person.
Yeah.
And so they fall in love, but he's also a bear.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's sort of like that sort of sexual furry kind of thing where you're like,
Yeah,
I just want to hang out with a bear. People want to swim with dolphins. There's things are happening.
Yeah,
people want to pet a manta ray. I was like, how would you feel if a hand came out of the sky to pat you on the head? Leave them alone. Anyway, but it's between them and their God. I don't know. We are over an hour.
Okay.
I should have started this earlier, but I thought implausible because I wanted there to be a love story of. Is there an Olympic love story besides the Nadia Comaneci that you love, or is that the one?
I'd have to think on it.
Oh, no worries.
Okay.
Well,
I'll save it for later.
We'll save it for later because
Mm-hmm.
definitely this other dorkdom. We should do it again.
Okay.
You are great. Lindsay Guzzardo, that has been lovely meeting you.
Yes.
And we will talk again. Rangers, you know the rules out there. Take care of each other.
My hat, my hat, my hat. They're dancing around my hat. My hat, my hat, my hat. Well, what do you think of that? If it looks like a Mexican hat dance and it sounds like a Mexican hat dance, it's most likely a Mexican hat dance. So take off your hat and let's dance.
Yay! Oh, my God. Why don't we just call that as the end of the show?